Although in 15 years the North Sea has yielded many oil fields, none has been so far north, so deep down, so costly to bring on stream. A vast project, its size echoed by its name, Magnus.
Magnus has been a big investment for the company and a great success. I mean, discovered in '74, brought on in '83, and now we're 34 years into a facility that was designed for 25-year life. It's a very strategic asset for BP and for the country.
December 1981. Soon to stand in 610 feet of water, the Colossus of Cromarty nears completion.
The Mighty Magnus, yeah, it's a huge place. If Magnus was standing on dry land instead of in the sea, it would be just a few feet short of the Empire State Building. It's colossal.
9 a.m. Explosive charges strike off her shackles, her final links with land. Ahead, 4 tense days, 350 risky miles to Magnus.
I was actually on the Beryl Alpha platform when the jacket was being floated up to the field. Quite a sight as well, although it was a fair bit off away from the platform, but you actually seen it.
Slowly, and with infinite care, the huge jacket is centered over its precise upending position, 610 feet below. But something, somewhere, is going wrong.
I saw it on the news, yes, and I saw a video of it many years later of the incident, and it was really touch and go.
The wretched piles, most of them, fell out and pinned the jacket to the seabed at an angle that was not exactly planned. This caused certain consternation for 2 to 3 days.
Magnus, costliest single structure in British industrial history, in jeopardy.
And through a lot of skill on the part of the engineers, they managed to reballast it and get it sank onto the seabed. And I believe it was slightly out of kilter, but if that had sank, that would have been a whole new ballgame.
21 lifts, 35,000 tons in all. Years to explore, prepare, design, and build. Now a fortnight to assemble, 2 weeks to fit the many land-built pieces into a single offshore platform.
Projects of such magnitude always involve bold judgments, technological, financial, economic, political, and physical considerations.
Today we're taking yet another large stride forward in offshore oil development. Magnus has set the world new records of achievement.
Magnus. The cost, £1.3 billion. Planned production, 120,000 barrels of oil a day.
There was 2 production trains on it. Each one was capable of producing 88,000 barrels a day, and the wells were capable of producing a lot more than that.
The Magnus platform was different to a lot of other platforms back in the 80s. There was no demarcation. There was nothing between a company man or a contractor. The early days, as they called it, the People's Republic of Magnus, it was a one-off, and it was a great place to work.
There is a stronger sense of camaraderie there than I've encountered anywhere else.
Goodness me, so much younger then. The camaraderie on the Magnus, it was just a lovely place to work. You all let to muck in? Yeah.
Anyone that works offshore for any length of time will tell you you've got 2 lives. It's not like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job where the line between work and social is blurred. You go and do one thing for 2 weeks and you give it your full attention, and then you go back on shore and you do something else.
If you're in the control room, you know there for a fortnight, then the chances are you wouldn't see daylight for 14 days.
And my wife always knew when I'd been in the control room, because I'd come home and then at night Dorothy would say, "Oh, we'll draw the curtains." No, just leave the curtains. I want to see out.
Yeah.
That's it. No, but people can see in. I said, I don't care, I can see out.
I can remember not long after I went there, a very, very rough night, 27-metre waves and wind speeds over 100 miles an hour. And I can remember looking out on the lee side of the platform at the sea and realising we were on our own. You were completely isolated. No one's going to come and get you. And it focuses the mind a little bit.
We lost a turbine stack once when a 100-mile-an-hour winds was recorded, and it lifted the crane boom out the rest, hit the turbine stack and knocked it off.
I was grateful to be on a structure fixed to the seabed, particularly in that latitude.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing between us and America, really, was it?
You do still feel it shudder, especially if a big wave hits, then you stand and you actually feel yourself sway from side to side.
It's also quite hypnotic, if that's the right word to use. I've often in a heavy storm went down to the bottom deck and just looked out, see the waves rolling in. It's quite unimaginable.
There's a lot of social things that happen in the Magnus. That they had a beautiful big gymnasium. I know that I partook at that one, but there was sauna, cinema. The one thing I must remember at Magnus, the food was always fantastic.
You get 3 good meals made for you every day. My wife's not a very good cook, so I terribly miss that. And I've got somebody here who makes my bed.
From, say, 190 people on board, about 150 of those put their washing in every day. Sometimes I wonder where they wear their clothes, because they've got so much in one day.
So the quiz nights were always good fun. The banter that took place during the quiz was the greater part of the fun, especially on one memorable occasion when the catering crew decided to play their joker and double their points on the food and drink round and came in last.
Way back in the early days, every shift and every discipline actually had to put on a turn, we put on a wee concert. A lot of it being like drag acts and stuff like that. It was quite embarrassing at times where you're actually getting your bag searched on the way out and you've got a pair of stilettos and a wee low slung back frock. Guy would just look at you, but not a word was ever said.
Nicknames are quite common offshore and tend to stick.
Well, it was known as Little Tafia because there were so many Welsh guys.
He was Mr. Magnus, Laurie, again, like myself there from way back in the early days.
Ian Gibb, The Rock, yeah.
Alan Lindsay. Oh, Alan was a character. If you wanted a lazy day, you started talking photography with Alan, and he'd be away into that.
What was your nickname?
I never found out, and it's probably just as well.
We were A-Shift and A-Shift Angels.
That's right, Laurie's Little Angels. That's a fact. They always promoted themselves as being the elite.
When we first started, we were called the Casuals.
Oh, right, yes.
The Magnus Casuals.
Yes. I don't know what, I hate to think what then the B shift was called.
In the early days, we went out with Chinooks. Chinook would land, and then you would hope, above all hope, that somebody coming off it was the same size as you because you were travelling back in the rubber suit that they'd just come out in. So you actually had to shake sweat and condensation out of a rubber suit. And obviously, the day you're getting off, you're all shampooed, showered and shaved, thinking you're out crawling into a stinking old rubber suit before you hit the beach.
How did you feel about the flying back and forth?
It was a noisy bliss. I managed to sleep most of the time.
It was okay all the time, we had no drama, but did you never get the time when you're coming into land and you see the fire engines following you down the runway?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I slept through that one.
Yeah?
So it became customary when BP paid wise visits to the installation, and there they were wined and dined. They were toured round about the platform, get their photos taken on the heli deck, and they would fly back.
None of them would sneak off then with the fellas?
I'm taking the Fifth Amendment in that one.
The joiner was always kept busy making wedges so the boys could keep their doors shut in their cabins.
What happened with one of the flights was they spent about 3 hours up in the air, arrived at the platform, the fog came in, the helicopter circled for about an hour, and then they couldn't refuel, so they had to come all the way back. So they wives didn't see the platform at all. There was one that my wife was on actually crash landed in the Cormorant on the way back. So to this day she thinks I planned it, but I hadn't enough insurance to.
I think the majority of guys out here are proud to work on Magnus and be part of the BP family, if you want, even though we're just contractors. BP have been good to me, and good to you, and been good to a lot of people. Well, the Magnus has.
In its day, the Rolls Royce of the North Sea. Yeah, very much a very big, proud, good place to be. Yeah.
It's been an incredible journey. It's probably the only way I could say it. The things I've dealt with, the people I've met, especially the people I've met.
I think what made it special was the people. I mean, at the end of the day, it was just a production platform in the middle of the North Sea. But we're always lucky with the people we got.
I've grown up on the Magnus. I feel sometimes like I'm an adopted daughter to some. You just become close friends to a lot of them. You have to, because you have to live with them for 2-3 weeks.
I'm sure that if you speak to any manager, you'll be told that the platform they work on is the best one in the North Sea. But they're all wrong. It's Magnus.
I think it's just such an achievement through discovery, through construction, through the high rate days in the 80s and 90s, and then into the really challenging times where the team have been so successful in improving the business in recent years. Just a genuine thank you for everything they've achieved, and I wish them the best for the next chapter.